and I'm taking the access. Right. So what we were working with was the test DB, and we made something called mark sheet, which is something very similar to your textbook exercise, right? We'll go through it again, right? So I'm going to delete the mark sheet report, saying yes, and we'll create a one. So like I'm going to create. Yeah, I need you to share the screen of mine. So here we are in the test database. So I'm going to create a report, right? So I'm taking report designing, right? Yeah, the way we have went with this is the report wizard. Yes, so let's go on that manner. Let's go to create and report wizard, right? Then I'm going to choose the table that I need to have things in my report, right? So I'm going to take the marks, right? So index number, admission number, maths, science, English, and year is going to be there. So from that, I'm going to select the index number, hold on, and these things. And from the student table, I need the surname with initials, right? And yeah. So then I'm pressing next. So how do you want to view your data? So by student or by marks? It's better I say by student, right? So we will see how it's going to happen. And no, not for the moment. I'm not going to do any grouping kind of things. Those are some what the advanced stuff regarding the reporting, right? So yeah, I will be ascending from the index number, pressing next. And yes, if we take it as a block or outlines, it's better we have have it in a step manner, right? So I'm moving forward and title, let's say mark sheet. And I need to modify the report design, right? Okay. So this is how it happens, and surname with initials is there, index number, maths, science, and all these things are there, right? So it is taken as a header. So let's first we preview this thing and see how it happens. Yeah. So it's regarding Kamani. We have different kinds of index numbers. So math, science, and Sinhala is hidden right over here. So it's better we do the modification regarding this, right? So let's go to the design view and have these things. So I'm going to make these things a little bit further. Yeah. Okay, so let's preview it. Yeah, now it makes sense, neither. So we have uh, the, the different name of these students. So it is been grouped. And regarding that, so regarding Kamani, we have 1003 and 1005 index numbers. So which is in the two different years. And regarding Sugat, there are two. Nimal is one. Sunil, we got just one record. So you can take it like this. And if you need a particular marks in one particular year, so you can do the filtering part right now. But in here, you won't be able to do the filtering part because we haven't choose the year. So if you have year over here, so you can do the filtering part. So in the filtering, so like wait. Yeah, filtering happens here. Filtering is happen just due to the what you call the index numbers and all, right? So regarding each and every column, right? Advanced filtering is sort of advanced filtering part, so don't bother about those things in your syllabus. We are not go much deeper to that, right? But you can have this particular one according to the marks that each and every student has made, right? And once you're done with this, you can print it if you want, right? So you can have print preview and you can print it, right? With the if you need to do any modification, you can move to the print preview part or like the designing part, and you can do the modifications as you want, right? Okay, so that's what it takes to manage a report with the database access, right? And in your book, uh, there they have take it into the to create a mark sheet, the wizard, and they have given another report which is called fees, right? And it's better you try these things, right? By creating an access database, as they say, right, as we did in our practicals, and just try to create some reports through that. So that will be a good practice for you to understand how database works or how MS Access works. Right. So from this point, your theory part regarding the grade 10 is over, right? So as I told you before, just ready for a examination or a paper. So just go through the stuff. And when you are answering the paper, just don't copy those things down from the book. All right, be honest to yourself and just give it a shot, give it a try. How if you really need to measure how what is the level that you are, right? ඔය ඇත්තටම ඉන්න තැන බලා ගන්න එක තමයි වටින්නේ. Right? ඒක නිසා ඒක clear කරගන්න, clear නැති මොනවා හරි තියෙනවනම් you can ask from me. Right? That doesn't matter. ඔයාට අමතක වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඔයාට කෙරලා නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right? So you can ask me always. Okay, so
can we customize reports like the colors and all this?
Yes, you should be able to name them, අපි මෙතන කතා බහ කරලා නම් නැහැ. Let me see. එතන මේගොල්ලෝ මේ පාටවල් දානවා කියලා කියන්නේ we should be able to customize it නේද? Yes, මෙතන නම් they are not given any text formatting is here, right over here. So like if you move to the design view, yes, here. So arrange formatting part is here, page setup part is here. So under the formatting part you can change those font colors, background colors, right? Even you can have background images, right? And the shapes, these shapes can be filled, right? So likewise you can do the customization if you want. Got it? Right. Okay, people. So for the moment, I know you don't have the grade 11 books. නේද කාගාවත් මිනුල් ගාව තියෙනවනේ මිනුල්ලගේ කලින් පටන් ගන්න ඕනේ නේද?
Yes,
Other
sir.
than Minul, like most of the people may not have the book, so you can download it from the publication site, and as well as, sorry, I'll put the soft copies into the into both groups, right? So you can download it from there. Okay, Sinru. So anyway, I'm going to put the soft copies. I'm sending both grade 10 and 11 books, right? So just download 2 copies if you want, or like just like go with the grade 11, right? බොහොම ඉක්මනටම grade 11 settle කරගන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි ඉස්කෝලේ පටන් ගත්ත ගමන්, but එතකන් අපි මේකේ practice වෙමු, right? Okay, so to the IME group as well, I'm going to have these two. Okay, Seven. You mean like chat off this Zoom session, right? Here they go. All right. So grade 11, first lesson is about programming, right? And you are having 6 lessons in your grade, and we'll try our best to finish these things off by August, right? I mean, August we have enough time to do the revision as well, right? In this book, most of the lessons are in theory based, the programming one, HTML, and graphic design, right? Those 3 are in theory based, right? Other 3, the system, there is a small lesson, the system lesson, the next lesson, and there is ICT and society, and there is one more. Let me see what it is. Yeah, the internet and electronic mail, that is also halfly practical based and halfly theory based, right? So most of the things are in practical base. And remember, when it comes to your O-level paper, it's better you get very much ready with the grade 10 parts, because you are having a lot of questions from grade 10. Questions from number system, questions from gates, questions from Excel lesson. There is a question, definitely there will be a question from gates and database. And yes, those kind of things, right? So the lesson that we are going to learn today, going to start today, is the programming, and you are going to have a question from that as well, right, regarding the programming, right? So it's better be aware, like grade 10 is having a greater influence on your paper, the O-level paper, right? Okay, so moving forward, we are going to start the programming, right? So here we are going to learn how to analyze a problem and how to create a solution by analyzing that problem, and how to code that plan, right? How to develop that program and execute and set test, right? So before we go to the real programming, we are just there to talk about how to analyze a problem. කොහොමද ප්‍රශ්නයක් analyze කරගන්න කියන එක, right? So there are some examples that they are given to us, right? So one is preparing a letter which can be posted, right? So if you think your problem is preparing a letter to be posted, right? So what they really do is, now they just decompose the process of preparing a letter into three separate sections. The section where we are going to identify what are the inputs are, the section where we're going to identify what's the output is, and the section that we are going to recognize what should be done, or in other words, the process, what are the process that needs to carry out this particular thing, or like to solve this problem, right? So in the problem of preparing the letter which can be posted, so the input process output decomposition is done in this manner. So as the inputs, we need a sheet of paper which is suitable to write, and a pen and an envelope, stamp and glue, right? So the processes, the process that we are doing using those inputs are listed here. So which you already know, we write the letter, we fold the letter and put it into the envelope, and we paste it, and then we will write the recipient address at the top of the envelope, and we stick in the stamp, right? So once you stick in the stamps, then you can put it to the mailbox or hand it over to the a post office to get posted, right? So the requirement or the problem was preparing a letter which can be posted. So your problem has a boundary, right? අපි එක post කරනවා කියන තැනට කතා කරාට, the boundary that they are asking is, now you create how to do that, right? And like you only need to what you call the prepare the letter which is capable of posting. කොහොමද post කරන්න කියන එක මේ ප්‍රශ්නෙට අදාළව කතා කරන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. They just ask you to prepare a letter which can be posted, right? So if you done this in the correct manner, the output that you are going to have is a letter which is ready to be posted. And when you are doing this, you can recognize, like writing the letter, that should be the very first task. We can't do it like doing after the second one. Fold in the letter and put it into the envelope, then we can't write the letter. So these kind of steps, we call it a sequence, the instruction which happens one after the other, right? So in some sequence, in most of the sequence, some instructions are to be flow into an order, right? And there are some instructions where we can switch, All right, toggle the places. Right now, like the instructions in fourth and fifth, right? And even in third. Now, if you take fourth as an example, write in the recipient address on the envelope, then stick in the stamp. So your output is not going to get affected if you toggle the fourth and fifth. But if you do stick in the stamp first, then you write the recipient address on the envelope, right? And again, when it comes to the third part, that also can be done after sticking the stamp and writing the paper. So, so writing the letter, so you can paste the envelope. That doesn't matter, right? But again, remember, it is regarding the given scenario. දීලා තියෙන ක්‍රමයට අනුව තමයි ඔය මට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Okay, so that is what they are talking in here. So the next one is making a cup of tea. Right? Yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Can I eat mine?
No. Once that is done, you can eat, right?
Can I eat?
Okay, take it to the army and eat it now.
Whoa.
Careful, careful.
No, no, no.
You have to stay calm, yeah?
Let's
Start
take
with
some.
the class.
No.
Bye.
That is the food.
That is your class. Let's go. Let's go and play.
Let's go on.
Come,
Party not away.
come, get off, honey, get off.
Please. ළමයි තපරයක් ඉන්න.
Let's go.
Okay, sir.
All right. So people, the first one, when you are given a problem, that is how we are going to decompose the things that we are going to do into these three steps. You have to identify what are the inputs. Then you need to recognize what are the processes that you need to carry out, and then you have to see what's going to be there as the output. So the next one is about making cup of tea, right? So again, the inputs are going to be tea leaves, sugar, and hot water, right? They are not talking about the milk tea, they are talking about a tea, right? That means a plain tea in our world, right? So the process that they are going to carry out is, they say, putting tea leaves into the strainer. Then we pour in hot water to the cup through the strainer. So then adding some sugar to the cup, stirring it well with a spoon, tasting for taste, taking a small sip from the cup. If the taste is not satisfactory, go to the step 3 and repeat step number 4 and 5. Now, this process, or like this particular problem, if you consider about the process, there are several steps which can be repeated. And again, it is repeating due to a condition, which is a very important thing for you to understand. Repetition happens due to a condition. So what is the condition? Now, putting tea leaves in a strainer is something that we must do, and something we must do at the very first. at the very beginning. Pour in hot water to the cup through the strainer. Yes, again, otherwise we won't be able to make tea, right? And add in some sugar to the cup. Again, that should be a must, because otherwise we won't be able to drink the tea, because it will give you some bitter taste, right? And we have to stir it well, so then the sugar will dissolve to the tea mixture, right? Then you taste it, and if the taste is not satisfactory, that is going to be your condition, right? Which is right over here, right? If the taste is not satisfactory, so remember, that is due to a condition. That is the condition. Condition is like whether the tea is satisfactory or not. If it is not, then you are going to go to the third step again. That means adding some sugar to the cap. Then stir it well with a spoon. Then again, have a sip and see whether it is satisfactory. If it is not, again, you are going to add some sugar, then stir it well, then taste it and see. So likewise, until you are satisfied, you are going to do some step, or you are going to repeat some steps in your process, right? Are you getting this point? The point is, there are some processes where you have to repeat against a condition when you are like decomposing a problem, right? Hari, ඔතනට වෙනකන් තේරුණාද? Give me a confirmation.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right, okay. How about others? Right, great. Right, okay. Right, okay. All right. Right, so let's look at problem number 3. So in, oh my God, hold on. Right. So I'm moving to the next problem. Now, this says dividing 40 pages and 80 pages books. So there is a parcel which has 40 and 80 pages between two siblings, Sanduni and Anupama. Right? So 40 pages books are to Sanduni, and 80 pages book are to Anupama. Right? So what's going to be the input for this scenario? It's the parcel of the books. Right? So that is what we have to divide. So parcel of the books is eventually going to be the input. And the processes. So you have to open the parcel. And you should take a book. And remember, now when you are reading this through, you will feel, okay, this is being like explained like bit by bit, step by step. Harima primitive vidhiyata. Ekin ekata kiyala thiyena. So that is the way that you are going to create an algorithm. I'll tell you what's an algorithm. and later that algorithm will be forged into a program, right? So remember, when we are analyzing a problem, we have to analyze it in a very small steps, right? ළඟම ඉඳගෙන observe කරගන්න ඕනේ. Right? So open the book parser, taking a book out of the parser. That's the second task that we are doing. Then it says, if it is a 40-page book, give it to the Sanduni. So it finds with a condition, right? If it is a 40-page book, so there will be a question. එක 40 page එකක්ද 40 pages 40 pages තියෙන pages 40ක් තියෙන book එකක්ද? If it is yes, then you are going to reward it to the Sanduni. And do we really need to check whether that book is an 80-page book? Now, parcel contains two types only. So, එක 40 පොතක් නෙවෙයි නම් 80 පොතක්ද කියන එක අනිවාර්යෙන් තියෙන්න ඕනද? Tell me your suggestion. So, like, do we really need to check it again? If it is not a 40-page book, do we really need to check it whether it is an 80-page one? Yeah, no, right? Saran, your answer is correct. No. Saran, can you tell me why it is not a need to check that it is a 80-page or not? Yeah. If it is not a 40-page, it is a book which is going to give to the Anupama. But my question is, like, there are two types of books. The 40 පොතක් නෙවෙයි කියලා අපි දැනගත්තම ඇයි අපි ඒක අමුතුවෙන් 80 පොතක් නෙවෙයිද කියලා බලන්න ඕනේ නැත්තේ? Why? What's the reason?
Because there's only two conditions. Like one condition
Yes,
only.
that's
like
right,
two.
Minu. Because there is only two kinds of books. Yes, sir. Right? So there is only two kinds of book. So if it is not a 40-page, then obviously it's going to be an 80-page. So we don't need to check for it, right? So the condition can be made how? Is it a 40-page and it is not a 40-page? Will be automatically created. And if you check whether it is an 80-page, if it is not an 80-page. That means it's a 40-page again. Right? So, එතකොට ඔය එක දෙයයි check කරන්න. 40 නම් 40ද කියලා බලනවා. 80 නම් 80ද කියලා බලනවා එච්චරයි. දෙකෙන් එකයි බලන්න. 40 book එක නම් your condition is checking whether a book is a 40-page. So if it is, we are giving it to the Sanduni. If it is not, we are going to give it to the Anupama. But just excuse me for a moment. Hello, Majid. Me? right lamai sorry Hari. So what we are talking about is when we are checking, when we know there are like certain things are inside our process, like in the parcel we are having 80 and 40 pages. So when we are checking just one thing, disqualifying that condition will qualify to the other condition, right? 40 පොතක් නොවීම 80 පොතක් වීමට හේතුවක් වෙනවා, right? Remember, because those will be we are going to use those points when we are making the algorithms. ටික වෙලාවකින් අපි algorithm එකක් ගැන කතා කරනවා. So ඒ වගේ වෙලාවකදී අපිට ඔක ඕනේ. condition එකක් use කරන තැනකදී ඒ කියන්නේ අපි දැනගෙන ඉන්න ඕනේ අපිට එකකින් දෙන්නෙක් check කරගන්න පුළුවන් කියන්නේ. right? අපි එක දෙයක් check කරාම අපිට දෙකක් ගැන certain වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ yes and no කියන part එකේ. අපි අහන question එකට අදාළව condition එකට අදාළව if it is yes, then it's going to be according to this scenario, according to the question that we are asking, if it is it a 40-page book. So the answer is yes, then it's going to the 40-page type. If answer is no, then it's going to be an 80-page one, right? So we don't need to ask two separate questions. Again, 40 page ද කියලා හැමෝම නෑ කිව්වම ආයෙත් 80 page ද කියලා ප්‍රශ්නයක් අහන්න ඕනේ නෑ. It shows us if it is not a 40 page one, so definitely it's going to be an 80 page one, right? So now this particular scenario, this particular condition gives you the idea about a selection. තෝරාගන්නේ කොහොමද කියන එක. Right? The previous one was giving you the idea about an iteration, repetition, repeat steps. So that is what we call the repetition. Now here you are having an selection, right? So you take a book, check whether it is a 40 page. If it is yes, you are going to give it to the Sanduni. If it is not, you are going to give it to the Anupama. And then you do what? You take the next book. So I told you this is a selection. Selection එකක් වුණාම දන්නවා මේ අපි අහන question එක okay නම් we are going to give it to the, or like we are going to go on the path as per the like by assuming or like by getting the our answer as yes for the condition. Condition එකට yes කියලා උත්තරය આવොත් එකපාරට යනවා. If we are getting the answer no to that particular condition, we are going to go on another path, right? ඒ වගේම තමයි, since there are a lot of books or like parcel of books are here, we have to repeat it again and again, right? So in here you are finding both the selection and the iteration, right? Okay, so we are doing this iteration in here, we are doing the iteration until the books are over, right? Pot ivara venakam. So that is the iterating condition. Iterate wenna tiyena condition එක තමයි pot ivarada නැද්ද කියන condition එක. සඳුනි අනුපමයි අතරේ pot බෙදන්න තියෙන condition එක, is it a 40 page or not? Right? එහෙමත් නැත්නම් is it an 80 page or not? හරි. එතකොට ඔයගලන්ට තේරෙනවා ඇති මේකේ you can find two different conditions. One condition is determining whether it is a 40 page or 80 page, and other condition is determine whether you are continue the this book reward the book dividing part or not. Right? Again, පොත් දෙන එක ඉස්සරහට කරගෙන යනවද නැවත නැවත කියන එක වෙනස් කරන condition එකක් තියෙනවා. පොත කාටද හම්බෙන්නේ කියන එක තීරණය කරන condition එකක් තියෙනවා. Okay. Are you getting this? මේක තේරෙනවද?
Yes, sir.
Right. How about the others? ඒවා බොහොම simple දේවල්,
Yes,
but
sir.
there are a lot of things for you to take. Right? ඒ නිසා මේ පුංචි points ටික එකතු කරගන්න ඕනේ. Right, good. Okay, how about the others? Anta හැමෝගෙම respond දෙන්නේ නැහැ. Onetra says, okay, Dulagi, right, okay. තේරෙන්නේ නැත්තම් කියන්න. So I'm going to repeat it, how it happens. Right? Yeah. So like, still there are some people. Dahamdi, Agra, how about you people? Is it clear? Yes, Ovin, Sinura.
Clear, sir.
Saran, softwares of using these, there are many, right? The one we are going to talk here is the Pascal, like when it comes to the programming, right? So before that, we have to like figure out how we are going to clear things. Like අපිට ප්‍රශ්නයක් දුන්නම අපි ඒ ප්‍රශ්නේ analyze කරගන්නේ කොහොමද කියන එක තමයි අපි මෙතන බලන්නේ. Right? Okay, so look at the fourth problem. It says the problem is adding two numbers together. So inputs will going to be two numbers. Process is going to be calculating the addition of those two numbers, and output is going to be the total. Right? Simple things. It's now it's into mathematical part, right? So the fifth problem is about finding an area of a rectangle. So inputs will be length and width of the rectangle. Process is going to be area is equal to length into width. Then output is going to be the area. Right? So it is illustrated in the very simple manner. Right? පොඩි ළමයෙකුට කියනවා නම් කොහොමද කියන්නේ එකින් එකට මේක කරන්න කියලා. And that in that nature we have explained this particular problems. The sixth problem is about find the large number between two numbers. So finding large number is due to a comparison, neither. So then the inputs are going to be two numbers, and process is going to be comparing two numbers, right? So in comparing, we can do two things. Neither we can check whether one number is larger than the other number, right? That is a one comparison that we do. And we can do it the other way around as well, whether one number is smaller than the other number. අපි දෙකම කරන්න යන්නේ, right? We are doing one of those, right? අපි හිතුවොත් first number එක A, second number එක B කියලා. We are going to check whether is A larger than B. If it is yes, A is going to be the larger number. If it is no, B is going to be the larger number. Or else we can check whether A is smaller than B. If it is yes, if A is smaller than B, if it is yes, B is going to be the larger number. Right? If it is no, A is going to be the larger number. Right? තේරුණාද?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So there are many ways that we can address a question, and the ways we can have the outputs as we want, right? Okay, so look into the seventh question, right? So careful. Right, so the seventh problem is about finding whether a number is odd or even. Right? So how we are going to find out whether a number is odd or even? Again, there are two ways, right? And don't have this idea, that you always have two ways of solving the things. Maybe sometimes you are having only one way of solving the things, and sometimes you are having like more than one ways of solving the things, right? And here we got two ways of solving the things, right? So one way is we take a number, we divide it by 2, and we check for the remainder, right? So what I was telling, that the scenario that I was explaining to you, like taking the number and divide it by 2 and considering the remainder, is a must to be done. Don't do it, right? And then when you are having the remainder, you can check it by checking the remainder and can determine what kind of a number that you have received, right? So like when you divide a number and you get the remainder, then you check your remainder is equals to 0 or not. So if your remainder is equals to 0, that means your number is an even number, because when a number divided by 2, the remainder is 0, means it is an even number. If not, that means it is an odd number. That is one way of checking it. And the other way is you can take the remainder and you can check whether that remainder is equals to 1. If it is yes, it is going to be an odd number, right? Because odd numbers are the number who are giving us the remainder as 1 when we are dividing by 2. And if the remainder is not equal to 1, that means no path, it gives you the conclusion that the number is an even number. Hari. Terunada. Make a terunada.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. How about others? Right. Great. Okay. Right. So, as I told you before, when we are having, like the nature of having more than one solution for a problem, we call those solutions are as alternative solutions, right? So alternative solutions means you can choose a solution for your problem and there will be many more ways of solving it. So those will be alternative solutions, right? So if you take a problem, there will be, in most of the cases, there will be like more than one way of solving it. So the only thing that we need to bother about is whether we are having the output that we are expecting, right? Problem එක විසඳුනාම අපිට ඕන output එක එනවද? And it is better you worried about the time it takes. කියන්නේ problem එක විසඳ ගන්න යන කාලය. Right? මොකද ඔයාගේ algorithm එක සමහර problems වලට there will be algorithms which will give you the answer by 2 seconds or by 2 minutes. So even though a 2-minute solution is also a solution, it's better you go with the 2-second solution. Because the time matters when we are solving a problem, right? Okay, so Now hereafter, I'm not going to go with this, right? I will come to that particular place, right? And I'm going to like draw something called flow chart, right? So now when we are figuring out something of solving the problem, we call it an algorithm, right? So way of solving a problem. So the specialty of the algorithm is, when we figure out the algorithm, the steps of the algorithm will happen one after the other, right? And step by step tamai problem එක solve out වෙන්නේ. Right? Okay. So right. So here I'm going to show you what is a flow chart is. Now, yeah, before I go into this, like we can have the algorithm, so we can define an algorithm. Let me check the spellings. Algorithm, yes. Yeah, algorithm can be represented in two different, which is not too different. We are saying there are two ways of, we are discussing two ways of defining an algorithm, which is from flowchart and there is another one called pseudocodes. Now, flowchart, we call it a graphical representation. Pseudocode is a textual representation. Right? We are going to learn about both the scenarios, right? So first we are going to talk about the graphical representation or the flowchart, right? Right, so the first one is about flow charts, right? Now this is something we are going to define our algorithm in a graphical method. So before we go to the flow chart or before we draw the flow charts, there are some symbols for you to recognize, right? So these are the symbols and it's better you take these things down, right? After I draw this, right? So there is a start and end for a flow chart, which we are going to draw by an oval shape, right? You don't need to have a thicker border. So like you can write start inside this, as well as you can write end inside an oval, right? Which indicates algorithm is starting and algorithm is ending, right? And there will be places where you need to get inputs and there will be places where you need to get outputs. So taking an input is indicated inside a parallelogram, and giving an output is also indicated inside a parallelogram, right? Now remember the shapes, right? So that means you can say enter a number which is going to be an input, right? So as an example, you can say enter a number. So this should be inside a parallelogram. As an output, we can say display total. Right? So you can have it inside a parallelogram. Right? So the first thing is this. Second one is inputs and output shapes. And there is another one called processes. Right? Singaling අපි කියනවා ක්‍රියාවලි කියලා. Now process, we are going to indicate a process inside a rectangle. Right? So as an example, we can say total equals a plus b, some equation, right? So that is going to be inside a rectangle, which indicates a process. And there is another shape which you are drawing inside a diamond, and having these two parts which indicates yes and no. So this is called the condition box. So remember, inside this diamond, you always ask a question which can be answered by yes and no. That is an important thing. You are going to ask a question which can be answered as yes or no. So those are easy, right? A, whether is A is larger than B, we can say yes or no, right? Is A is equals to B, we can say yes or no. Is there any more books, we can say yes or no, right? So likewise, you are going to ask a question. So remember, it should be in the question format. Is A larger than B? Question mark. Right? This is a must. Right? Okay, so this is called the condition box. Yeah, I have written the example over here. So I'll draw the general one right over here. Here you are going to have the condition question. Right? Okay, the final one, no, there are two more. There's another one called data flow. which is indicated by an arrow, right? So you can draw the arrow as you want and be sure to have the arrow head at the end of the line. Don't put it at the middle of the line, which is a wrong notation, right? Data flow indicated by an arrow. So you can have many different data flows, right? So as an example, right? You can start it, then using a data flow, you can say what to do. Then that you can indicate what to be done. Then this condition box has two data flows. Then you can say what is happening. Then you can indicate what happens next. Right, so likewise, you can have data flows. Okay, so this is going to be the start and this is going to be the end. And the final one is going to be the connector. Right, connector means you are using a circle and you are indicating a capital letter inside it. So we use the connectors when we need to connect our, or when we need to continue our flow chart to another page or to another place, right? So it indicates this is the where it ends and this is the where it continues. So something like this. So like you can have the flow chart doing something and doing something again. So let's say your page is going to end from here. So you put a connector and say A. So this is the end of this page. So you will start from the other page by putting the connector A, then having something, have some outputs, and sorry, the end. All right. Did you got this? There are 6 type of symbols: connectors, data flows, condition box, process box, input and output parallels, and start and end symbols. Right. Okay. I want you to write this down. It's better you say algorithm illustration. Right. So have the very first heading. Your heading is going to be programming. That is the name of your lesson, programming. It is the first lesson of grade 11, programming. Then you can have this. Once you are done with this, just let me know. I'll scroll it up. Right, to our finish.
So wait.
Okay. All right. I'm moving a little bit upward.
The connectors are not often used in flowcharts.
Yes, yes, yes. Not very much because again, in practical scenario, they will, like when we are like drawing a flow chart to an actual system or actual software, it will like flow for like 5 to 6 pages. But in our syllabus, yeah, we are not using those things very much. Okay, moving forward a little.
So do they create softwares using flowcharts?
Flow chart are used to create the plan window, like how it's going to flow. And one system architect and the system analyst start using this tool. And once they figure the algorithm out, they will hand that over to the programmer to program it
Code.
using a specific programming language.
No, I mean like flowcharts are used or pseudocodes are used.
Yes. So like as they need, right? Pseudocode is much descriptive. You can when you are writing something from pseudocode, those are like very much familiar to the programming languages. But the flowchart, it is very easy to represent some things, right? So either way, going to use, right? Moving upwards a little bit again. Right, moving up a little bit more. If you miss the upper part, just tell me to stop. Right, the end part is going to be like this. Right. Just confirm me, is everyone finished or not?
Yes, sir.
Right, okay. Agra, yes, okay. Carry out Agra, okay. You want a candy?
Yeah, candy.
Wait, that is going to come.
Daddy, Daddy, come on.
I'm going to come very soon.
Daddy, Daddy,
Wait.
Daddy, come on. Daddy.
Give me 5 minutes.
Just 5 minutes.
Give me 5 minutes, huh? Give me 5 minutes. I'm coming.
Candy.
Oh, it's good. Fine.
Right. All right, people. Since it's 5 o'clock, I'm not going to go with the flowchart drawing, right? So we'll continue it by next week, right? So be prepared. Go through the symbols. Go through why these things are why we use these things, right? Then we'll discuss some flow chart, then we can discuss some pseudocodes, then we can go for the programming. So before you do the things with the programming language, you should have the idea how you are going to achieve a particular problem, right? Then becoming a programmer is nothing, right? Only thing that you need to figure out how you are going to solve a problem, right? That is the major part, right? Okay, so I'm going to wind up the session from this point. I'm going to see you the very same time on the same
We're
day.
doing the paper next week.
Yeah, I'll let you know whether you are going to face the paper next week or not, right? Anyway, it's better you get ready for that, because we are not going to do it in the classroom. I'm going to send the paper. I'm going to put it in the groups. So you better download it and do it on the paper, answer it on a paper, and you have to have the photos of them and send it to me, right? Then I'll go through those and I will discuss the things during the
Yes,
class, right?
okay, sir.
Okay, so
Thank you,
have a
sir.
nice weekend. Be safe, right? I'm
Thank
going
you,
to
sir.
see
Good
you
night.
next week, right? Okay, good night,
Thank you, sir.
everyone.
Good night, sir.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
okay, Putra, good night.